Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. I hope you guys are fired up and ready to go to kick this market on off, see if we have any great opportunity, and make the best of the best trades and let that money follow along. So, guys, it's once again pretty slow in the market. Not a lot going on. I mean, the leaderboard is quite scattered, but again, it's just nothing's really holding on up, okay? So just to kind of give you a little brief overview on the market, I've been in here since about 6 a.m. We've had a couple decent little setups, but I mean, when I say decent, they were decent. I mean, you had RIGL moving up on really light, choppy volume. We have some blockchain and Bitcoin movers today, RIOT and MARA. I believe these are probably moving up in anticipation of Coinbase's IPO tomorrow. So we're starting to see a little bit of movement out of the top two blockchain / Bitcoin plays. Once again, RIOT and MARA. But overall, guys, the market again this morning is very cold. It is raining outside. It's a little chilly. You don't want to go out there. You don't want to participate, right? I'm kind of in that mindset today. Is like, I really don't want to participate in the market. Right now on the day, a little bit of red on the table. So give you guys a little bit of a brief little rundown before we really dive into this. So obviously you guys know I hit and exceeded my daily max loss yesterday, closed the day down around $2,800. So what did I do? Right? I broke one of my rules. I haven't broken one of my rules in God knows how long. Long time. So I broke a rule. So instead of beating myself up, getting mad, getting upset, being mad at the market, I literally took a step back. If you guys follow me on TikTok, I made a couple posts as far as, you know, what you guys need to do to get in the right mindset. Again, sometimes you got to take a step back before you can take your next step forward. So I took a step back, I assessed everything, and I asked myself some questions. You know, what am I doing wrong? Right? What do I think I'm doing wrong? To, you know, which led me to, you know, exceeding my daily max loss. My rule is no more than $1,500 in loss a day. What did I do wrong? Why did I let it get to that point? Well, number one, I can definitely see that I'm over trading. My bad. Let me turn my phone off. I was over trading a bit yesterday. I was pretty scattered. I wasn't locking in my base hits when I had them. I was looking for those $1,000, $2,000 gains. You know, I held my winners a bit too long. They turned into losers. So would you say it's a little bit of greed? I would say it's greed. You know, I was up $300, $400, $500 several times on several plays, and I ended up stopping out at either break even or a small loss. So again, being greedy, looking for those big home run trades. Definitely taking on too many trades. You know, I was definitely trading a lot yesterday because I kept saying, oh, here's an opportunity, here's an opportunity, here's an opportunity, right? So again, I took that step back. I analyzed, I assessed the situation, I asked myself some questions, and I was able to take a lot of positives away from it. I was able to come into the market this morning with a solid mindset, and again, taking the positives out of those negatives versus beating myself up. So the positives are, I realize what I'm doing wrong. You know, the great positive is we still have a long way to go until the end of the month. Another positive, it's only $3,000, right? That's easy to come back from, and I can't tell you how many times I've lost a couple bucks in, you know, 1 month. You know, my average was, you know, red. I've broken even or barely hit my goal. But I know on average, at the end of the day, I'm going to make money. I'm going to be profitable. So I just wanted to share that with you guys is you saw the worst of the worst. You know, I haven't been on a red streak like this in, oh my goodness. This is the first time this year. All right, so this is the first time this year that I've gone on a multi-day red streak. And another thing I want to point out is I know that a lot of comments on TikTok yesterday stating that, oh, you're live streaming, you're putting too much focus on the stream versus your trades, it's confusing you, you're multitasking too much, your head's all over the place. I can kind of see that, but the one thing that traders don't like to do, I'm going to turn my beautiful face on while we talk. Right now, it's about motivation. The market's not really hot. We have some plays. I've dissected it. Right now, this morning, I want to talk about psychology. I want to talk a little motivation. I want to talk about mindset, okay? The stock market's dead, so might as well be productive and talk about things that actually matter. One of the biggest things that traders do is they do not take responsibility for their actions, for their results. Traders, what they like to do is say, it was the market. I'm going to blame my red day on the market. I had a phone call pop up. I had to close my trade too early, or I closed it, whatever. They blame it on the phone call. Or, hey, I'm too busy live streaming, and that's taking away my focus from the stock market and taking away the focus for my trades. Because, again, I haven't been on a red streak since I started doing this. But, again, the biggest fault, the biggest worst decision that traders make is to blame anything else besides themselves. So by me sitting here and saying, you know what, the only reason I'm losing money, the only reason I'm on a red streak is because I'm all over the place. I'm not focused on my trades. I'm not focused by myself. And that's the worst thing to do. Blaming external factors, again, the market, the phone call, whatever the case is. You have to take responsibility for your actions. You have to take responsibility at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one that chose to click buy. I'm the one that chose to click sell. I made those decisions in real time. I decided to do those things. So again, I wanted to talk a little bit about that is we cannot as traders blame the markets. We not as traders blame anything besides ourselves. We have to take responsibility for our actions each and every time, and we have to learn from that as well. So again, I saw a few comments, and I don't think that's it. Is it a little different? It is a little different. Paying attention to chat. We have hundreds of tickers flowing through, doing analysis, making sure you guys are learning, missing some trades. I'm missing trades. I'm getting in too late, blah, 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 blah. Again, I can't put the blame on anything else but me. I just have to adapt to this, right? I have to adapt and figure it out. So with that being said, yeah, I'm down $3,000 on the month. There are a lot of variables that contribute to that. But at the end of the day, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm the one that clicked buy. I'm the one that clicked sell. I'm taking responsibility. I'm taking that step back. I'm asking myself all of these questions. What am I doing wrong? What can I do different? Should I reduce my size, right? Instead of flowing through 100 tickers at 10 o'clock in the afternoon when the market's hot, put my focus back on where I'm comfortable, putting my focus on one or two tickers and focusing there and maybe answering those questions at 11:30 and reviewing those tickers later on versus getting all scatterbrained, right? Again, reducing the size. If I miss a trade, don't jump in because there's been a lot of trades lately. I'm like, hey, we're looking for a 187 bounce. I'll look over to chat. Okay, let's go look at RIOT. All right, I'll go back to LYL. Oh, it bounced at 187. It's up to 195. Let me jump in. Boom, it comes down and stops me out. I would have been buying at 187 and selling at 195, but I'm pulling the trigger too late. Sometimes I'm pulling the trigger too early, right? So there's a lot of variables. Heavy on size, trading a lot, getting in too early, getting in too late because I'm missing my best of the best entries, but I still want to make money, right? So again, looking at all of these things, what am I going to do different? I'm going to reduce my size, right? I'm going to focus on 1, 2, 3 stocks like I normally do. I'm going to try to, manage my time better, right? Manage my time better to where I can still focus and give you guys my undivided attention, but we can still sit here. We can focus on the best of the best setups and make money and learn at the same time. So again, my mindset has done a complete 180. And again, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to hit this month hard. Again, it's been a nice little learning lesson over the last couple of weeks on how to juggle multiple tasks as I'm, sitting here trading live with you guys. So it is a little different, but again, we're good to go, baby. I'm good. Taking responsibility. I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm adapting, and we're going to bounce back better than ever before. We are going to bounce back. Second topic I want to talk about real quick, mirror trading, guys. Mirror trading is when you follow someone else. You're basically copying and pasting their trades. Not saying anybody's doing that, but I want to put it out there is mirror trading never works. Quick example. I have a margin account. I can trade as many times as I want. Hypothetically, let's say I take 10 trades and I have a 70% win rate. That means I'm going to be red on 3 and green on 7. Out of those 10 trades, I'm profitable, let's say $1,000 at the end of the day. But let's say you have a $20,000 margin account. You're restricted to the PDT rule. You take 3 trades that I take. You mirror trade me, right? You happen to take 2 of my losers and 1 winner to where you actually lose money on the day, but I'm making money on the day. So that is a prime example on why mirror trading doesn't work. There's a lot of variables. The biggest variable is account size, risk tolerance, your edge, right? My strategy, my style may not be what works best for you. So there's a lot of variables. So I want to throw that out there is, again, mirror trading is a bad habit to get into. I mirror traded with my mentor when I first started 5 years ago. I was losing money. He was making money. Why? He had more money to trade more and have better win rate by taking on more trades. I was limiting myself to 1 or 2 trades a day on a cash account, and I happened to choose the stocks he was playing that were losers, right? The other thing too is the stream is not a millisecond. It's about a 5-second delay. So by the time I'm like, yo, I'm in, 5 seconds later, you're like, oh shit, Josh is in. RIOT, 5 seconds later, quantity, 5 seconds later. So by the time you hear me say I'm in, by the time you pull up the ticker, by the time you put in your size, by the time you click buy, it could be 20 seconds. You guys know me. I've been in a trade for 5 seconds. I made a few $100 in 5 seconds. So again, not only are there a lot of variables, but there's a delay from the second I get in to when you get in 20, 30 seconds later. That could be when I'm getting out. So you put yourself in a losing position. So again, I want to stress as newer traders, guys, mirror trading doesn't work for so many different reasons. You're here to learn, take all of this in, soak in all the value, soak in all the education and knowledge, take what you've learned, apply it in a paper account, right? Real time in a real paper account. You know, test these things, figure out what works, then apply it in a real account so you're self-sufficient. Again, the point of this is so you're self-sufficient. The point of this is not to take these as alerts, to trade them on a live account, because again, there's a lot of variables. But again, you're a grown-up. You make your own decisions. So at the end of the day, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm just letting you know from experience, it doesn't work. Okay? It doesn't work. All right, so let's go ahead. Are there any allegations? Okay, so, you know, this is not stock related. So I'm not sure what's going on here. So my bad for all that, guys. Yeah, T-Bass, go away. Who is this? I'm deleting them, and then if I see another message pop through, I'm banning them. So anyway, just, you know, typical troll in the live stream. It's all good. It happens. So Josh, how early before the market opens are you up going through stocks? I'm in the market usually at 7 a.m. I wake up at 6:15 to 6:30. I come in, I open up my computers, and I'm just kind of scanning through, building my watch list, looking at news. But again, if you want to come in at 9, you can. You have 30 minutes to dissect all of the up-gappers and figure out which stocks you like the most. I come in at 7 o'clock just because I wake up early. I like to see if there's any 7 o'clock movers, 8 o'clock movers. I do make a good amount of money in pre-market when pre-market's hot. So again, for me, personal preference, I'm actually in here about 7 o'clock. So again, I wanted to talk about those few things today. Again, as someone that's been in the market for 5 to 6 years, what I did to, again, shift my mindset, right? To come in with a different mindset today, to be able to bounce back this month and be able to go profitable versus being in an emotional, depressed, upset, frustrated mindset to where I'm going to continue digging myself a hole by being in a negative mindset. So I wanted to share that with you guys as far as what I do and what helps me. Maybe it helps you. And then just got to hint all the head, you know, a little bit about that mirror trading. Now, mirror trading just doesn't work. Again, your goal should be to come in, learn, take all of this, apply it, then do it self-sufficiently. That's the goal for you guys, right? Not an alert service to where you have to stay in the server for 10 years just to make money. right? You can come in for 6 to 12 months, learn, and then go out and do it self-sufficiently. Okay, guys? So with that being said, we got about 5 minutes to go. Again, the market's a little on the slow side. Absolutely, Fernando. Today's goal is 1 green day after a losing streak, no matter how much money. Absolutely, green is green. Here's the beautiful thing. I know with consistency at the end of the day, I can average $500 a day. I've done that consistently. I'm down $3,000. So assuming I come in with my new mindset, just being calm, cool, collected like I am now, assume that on average for the rest of the month, I can generate, let's say it's still really slow. Let's say the market's so dead, so slow, I'm only averaging $250 per day. Not even saying I'm going to hit my goal. Let's say that just being smart, being disciplined, small base hits, couple $100 a day. Well, we have 13 days left, right? If I only do that, if I barely even hit that really unrealistic goal, as far as it's almost so achievable, it makes it unrealistic because I know I'm going to blast past it. I'll break even on the month. So even if I just average $250 a day for the next 13 trading days, right? Actually 14 trading days, I would actually be green on the month. But that's the thing. I know if I have that mindset of base it, couple $100 here and there, I know I'll have $1,000 days. I might lose a couple $100, but I know on average I'll be above 250 and right around 500 to where I can still bounce back even though I've been on a red streak. So that's the beautiful thing about day trading. When I have this pulled up on YouTube, your live stream covers up the gap scanner. Is there a way of moving your live stream so it doesn't cover up the scanner? So I have when I have this pulled up on YouTube, your live stream covers up the gap scanners. I don't know why the live stream would cover up the gap scanners, because everything's separate on my end. So whatever. Oh, okay. Well, it's my beautiful face. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Whoa, you guys are good. My camera, absolutely. Zach, absolutely. 1 day can make your week. 1 week can make your month. 1 month can make your year. It really can. Always focus on the process. Stay consistent. I sold cars for a long time and I hated it. There were weeks that I weren't selling cars. I was making no money. At the very end of the month, I sell 8 cars in a week because all my follow-up, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, you know, and there have been months that I just got my draw. You know, I walked away with a little bit of cheddar. It was my draw. You know, it's an average, right? We got to look at it. It was like, you know, the market has seasons. The car industry has seasons, right? Like summertime, people don't want to go out and car shop in Florida, right? So again, summertime's usually slow. End of the year, it's hot. Beginning of the year, it's hot. Tax time. So again, you have seasons in a lot of different industries. I come from an industry where there were seasons to where you have to prepare for the slow times. And again, right now, we're just in a slow time. Over the year, I'm still up. I've already paid myself, right? I've already paid myself for the last 3 months of work, right? And I left money in my account to where I have more buying power so I can continue to grow my account and pay myself. So if I look at the big picture is, yeah, over the last 2 weeks, if I stay narrow-minded and I just look at the last 2 weeks, I would black myself out. But when I take those goggles off and I look at the big picture, I'm still green for the year. I've already paid myself and I still have money in my account. That's the beauty, right? We can't be so tunnel visions and only focused on the negative 2 weeks, but let's open up and look at the last 90 some days, right? Not just the last 14 days, but the last 90 days. All right, guys. So with that being said, let's have an awesome day. We're going to make some great trades. We're going to make some great money. I wanted to hit a few things on the head. Again, you might notice a little difference from me as far as, am I going to be all over the place as far as stocks? No, I'm really going to narrow down the stocks that I like, that I want to focus on, provide education and value behind those. If we get the setups, take the trades. If you guys want to follow along on a paper account as well and test, feel free. All right. And if you guys are asking questions about tickers and I don't get to it, just know it's because I don't want to be too all over the place, right? I want to focus on the market. I want to focus on providing value, education, and being able to jump in some trades with you guys and make some money as why you guys are all here. And then when we come into that slow time of the day, when we do our lessons, we do our live Q&A, that's when I'll be able to jump back in and answer some of those questions in regards to tickers. Now, if the market's dead at 10 o'clock, we'll take some time and we'll review some stuff. Okay, guys? So with that being said, still here, baby. Still hyped up. Still motivated. We're going to drop nothing but value bombs. Make sure you guys are getting the best of the best education, the best of the best value that you guys are learning every single day that you are here. So let's have some fun. Let's make some money. And let's have an amazing day, team. So with that being said, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Other than that, we have about 24 seconds until the market. I'm going to be watching NVCR. NVCR is a larger float stock. It's also a larger priced stock. Currently up 52% on NVCR. And they had a DMC review of their lung cancer treatment trial. So we do have news. And we have some good volume here today on NVCR. So I do want to keep NVCR on watch. I'd like to see if we can hold above that 192 level, which is basically these all-time highs over on NVCR. That is actually my number one watch at this point in time. All right, we also had RIGL. RIGL was another stock that we should be keeping on watch today. Let's go ahead and just switch into our 1 minutes, and let's just see what we look like down towards around those previous all-time highs over on NVCR. All right, and again, I'm just going to scan through the watch list real quick so you guys know what I have on my watch list. So again, NVCR, all right, we have some news. All right, let's go ahead and go over to RIOT. Again, we said we were going to be keeping RIOT and MARA on watch. These stocks are moving up. I would expect in anticipation of the Coinbase IPO tomorrow. Bitcoin's up. You know, a lot of these blockchain and Bitcoin stocks are currently moving up right now. So again, you have RIOT and MARA. All right. RIGL, we're going to have to keep RIGL on watch. This is a 168 million in float stock, but it had some news. So we'll keep it on watch, but right now it's not looking all that great. TIRX was another mover, VTVT, and then LYL. So you can kind of see that as we just scanned, right? We don't really have a lot of beautiful setups right out of the gate, right? We got a couple stocks trying to make a move on up. You got TIRX trying to get a little bit of a bounce. Again, this just absolutely got crushed yesterday, all the way down into the $11 area. We may see a nice little, you know, dead cat bounce today on TIRX. So I do want to keep TIRX on pretty high watch. All right, so I'm going to say number 2 watch is going to be TIRX. It's currently halted. All right, we have a reason for this stock to be moving. We expect to see some traders move in and buy the dip. If there are shorts available on this play, then I would only imagine how many shorts are in this that may get squeezed. Let me see if there's shorts on TIRX. Can't borrow, so I doubt there's a lot of shorts in this play. All right, so the top 2 stocks I'm watching right now, NVCR around this 192 level to see if we hold. And we're also watching TIRX out of the halt. We look at some of the other stocks that were on watch right now. There's nothing happening. I definitely think we landed on the top 2 plays that have some of the best potential. Again, NVCR and TIRX at this point in time. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome if you're just now tuning in. We're going to have an awesome day. We're going to have a fun day. We have a lesson planned for this afternoon. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it basic. We're going to talk about volume, guys, because I don't think we've really talked a lot about volume and how volume is really, really important when looking at certain setups. Volume plays a big factor when we're looking at criteria for setups. Volume is very, very important. All right, so I do want to talk a little bit about volume today and the types of, you know, criteria based on volume that we want to see for some setups. So hopefully we get a couple good examples here throughout the day to where we can really dive into this volume lesson. and have some fun. So right now, TIRX was halted at 931.52. We're looking at 936.52. All right, so we have about 2 more minutes to go here on TIRX. This one, again, just a little bit of a dead cat bounce. We look at TIRX, we have bids at 22.14, so right around the close of the halt. All right, so we got a couple minutes to go here on TIRX. And I'm definitely looking at this one for a possible halt strategy here. I think this one has some good potential today. We also have NVCR bounce beautifully off that 192. So right now, I'm focused on TIRX, okay? So TIRX, we're going to be live here in the next about a minute or so. And we're looking at 936.52. And if I were to grab this entry, obviously I want to grab it around 220, 219, the whole area. If we dip below 22, I'll be out of the play. So I'll be risking about 20 to 30 cents max. If I grab 250 shares, my stop should be, no more than about $100 on this play. And we're looking for a nice push out of the halt, possibly up into the 23 threes, right? So about $1 reward here over on TIRX. If we get a nice little halt strategy, again, gap up, pull back to the halt area, 220, 219, or 22.19. Look for a nice big bounce, possibly into another halt. If we start losing that level into like the 2180s, that's going to be my stop, and I'll go ahead and cut it and walk away. Right now, we got about 40 seconds to go. And I'm still watching NVCR as well. The top 2 stocks I want to focus on right now and kind of let everything settle, figure out where the momentum's going to go, and then land on a good opportunity stock. Right now, definitely all eyes on TIRX. We're going to be live here in the next 10 seconds if it's a 5-minute halt. Right now, we got bids up towards around 22.80, so we might see a nice little gap up here. So we should be live. We are sitting at 5 minutes currently. Again, the halt was at 931.52, so we're looking at 936.52. We actually may be in a 10-minute halt right now, guys. Probably a 10-minute halt right now over on TIRX. So we got a little bit more time to go. With that being said, let's go check out NVCR. NVCR, easy to short. Why would I be looking at a short? Look at the last few 1-minute candles up into the VWAP resistance. Right, up into the VWAP resistance, decreasing volume as well. So let's see if we tag that and get rejected here for a possible pullback to 2 before it actually gets its next leg up. I'd be wanting to take an entry right off 210. So right now, I couldn't get in at 206 to the short side. I'd want to get in closer to the 210, that little push. So right now, we'll just wait for the pullback and possibly take it long for the leg up. Right now, I'm not long or short. So TIRX would be live at 941.53. So you have about 3 more minutes to go here over on TIRX. what we can maybe do here is take a downtrend right off these highs. We can see here that we have 1 touch, 2, 3. If for any reason we pull back the 2 and we start to put in this higher low, we could possibly see that reverse, break the downtrend, and move up into the $215 mark over on NVCR. Again, this is just a nice little gap up, some good news. They announced an update on pivotal phase 3 trial for non-small cell lung cancer. So again, we have lung cancer. They announced an update on their phase 3 pivotal trial. So we have some really great keywords to look for in a press release over on NVCR. So we got the catalyst, right? We have some really nice volume today. We can see here that we've already traded almost 3 million shares since the market opened. That is well above the average daily volume. So right now we've met that criteria for volume, the catalyst. Overall, this is a really nice play. TIRX will be live at 9:41:53, so about a minute to go. TIRX, I don't like it as much as NVCR, only because it doesn't have a catalyst, right? It's only getting a dead cat bounce off yesterday's massive dump. So as far as like a strong catalyst, great press release, it doesn't really meet that criteria, but we have volume, and we do have, you know, that dead cat bounce was a nice little technical setup, but it's not as strong the catalyst as what we have here in regards to the news. So I think NVCR has a lot more potential than TIRX, but TIRX still does have potential, especially if we get that nice gap up and we can hold that $22 mark for a possible little gap and go out of the hole. So right now I am going to go ahead and bring our attention back over to TIRX, as we will be live here in the next 50-ish seconds. All right, so TIRX, looking for this to possibly gap up out of the halt, get a nice little squeeze to it. I'd be risking about 30 cents to see if we get that nice gap, pull back to the halt area, nice big squeeze, possibly into another halt. So let's see what we have in store. We're going to be live in the next 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. TIRX, possible halt strategy. Let's see what we are looking like. Right now we got a bid at 23.80. So it looks like we may get a nice little gap up here. We're looking for a 22.19 pullback. See, we never got it. So that was just a gap and squeeze. Gap and squeeze! Right up into that level of 24.67 to the penny. And I believe that was the halt area, one of the halt areas from yesterday. So right up to that level to the penny. This thing is a very high risk, high reward type of play, guys. Very, very high risk. Support right now, proper support, is honestly back down towards around 20. Let's see if that halt area holds on up at 22.20. So right now, TIRX, high risk, high reward. I'm going to bring our attention back to NVCR here. And what I'm looking to do is get in on this higher low on NVCR. Basically looking to get long off this higher low for a possible break of the downtrend. I would have my stops right below 200. I'm going to wait for this next candle, kind of see what we look like here. And just like that, that thing came out of nowhere. Nice, nice push up to that 210 mark over on NVCR off the higher low off 2. And again, why am I not taking the trade? Why am I kind of sitting back? Just because I want to be a little bit more patient, right? I've been telling myself, be patient, the market sucks, right? So I'm actually going to apply that and be patient. But it's nice to see that we got that higher low and we got the push into that downtrend. So overall, this one is respecting the technicals. Right now, we're still under the downtrend. This is our third point. If for any reason we double bottom with a higher low here, and we come up into the fourth attempt to break the downtrend, I will be looking to take that long. That is a good setup. I'll take that time and time again. Where we have our third point, looking for the higher low into the fourth point, get a nice break. We have room up to 215 over on NVCR. So that's where my focus is right now, waiting for another little pullback. I'm also looking at TIRX above 22. Just kind of watching that, seeing what that's doing. So TIRX really struggling right now. Giving quite a bit back over on TIRX. We actually look at TIRX. We can see that it was trying to hold that level. Right now, just getting blasted on through. So TIRX not looking all that great right now. RIGL fading. RIOT, same thing. We got VT slow and steady, but I want to see the chart clean up. It's very, very choppy along this move to the upside. I'm not a fan of that price action. We put a little uptrend on this play. Maybe we have a nice little uptrend where we can get this nice squeeze on NVCR. Looking for a quick little pullback to 205. I'd like to see if I can grab an entry off 205 before it breaks. If I miss it, I miss it. Not going to chase this at 208 just to watch it come down to 205 and possibly stop me out. But we have a nice setup here. Right, happened quick. Third point, higher low. Starting to get that fourth touch break. It happened very quick within 2 minutes. I would have liked to see it pull back just a little bit more, then got that breakout. So right now, it could very well still get rejected here and then give us that higher low formation. And this is where it pays to be patient. Imagine me, oh man, I wanted 205, but it's at 208. Let me go ahead and jump in, and then boom, getting stopped out, right? So just having that mindset, being a little bit more patient. Patience. Patience, patience with a capital P-A-Y. Patience. So TIRX is still just falling, but it is falling on decreased volume. So in reality, it's not a bad little setup depending on where it can level out. It's actually trying to level out off of some pre-market resistance around 2166. So let's go ahead and pull up TIRX real quick. Again, what are we starting to see? Starting to see a nice little pullback into some pre-market support and resistance on that decreasing volume. Let's see if, buyers want to hold this level up, 2170-ish. Let's see how the next couple candles close here on TIRX. Do you guys have any tickers you're looking at? If you guys have any tickers you're looking at, feel free to post those up. I'll do a quick little review, do some analysis, see if we have any opportunity. Angela talking about BABA. B-A BA. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Right now, TIRX looking weak, so that's a good time to go ahead and take our attention over to Zababa, Alibaba. So right now, we actually we closed above the 50. All right, we actually gapped down slightly, all the way down into the 240s, and we're back above the 50, which is 243.11. So if we change this to 243.11, that's ideally the area that we would like to see hold over on BABA if this one still has potential to move on up and possibly get a nice little red to green move up into the 245s. So if we can hold 243, we have room to 245 on BABA. Right now, support would be back down in the 241s. Again, we have VT slow and steady. I would expect to see a pullback first, right? Again, I'm not a huge fan of how choppy this price action is to the upside. So let's wait for a little bit of a pullback, maybe back down towards around 3. Let it level off, see it kind of hold that support, and then we might be able to get our push up into the 330s over on VT. So this one definitely has some potential. We have receives FDA breakthrough for treatment one type of diabetes. So we have a good press release on VT. It's a 20 million in float stock, trading 15 million shares. So it meets the criteria. We just got to see it, I would rather see it clean up a bit, not be as choppy to the upside, get a little bit of a pullback first, and then go from there. Yeah, TIRX is just poopy. I'm going to go ahead and take that off the watch list. It was good out of the halt to see if it looked good, but right now, again, very choppy in this downtrend all over the place. Yeah, VT definitely has a nice daily chart. We're starting to break out over some of this previous resistance at 308. We do have room up into 325. We pull this one down off that high, room up into like the 340s, 350s on VT. So I do like VT. I'd still like to see it come down and level off around that $3 mark first. I know it's only 5 to 6 cents, but on this kind of play, you're talking, a few thousand shares. That could easily be a couple $100 getting in too soon. So I do think we'll see a little bit of a pullback first. I could be wrong, but I'm going to, say, hey, I think we should see a pullback first. Let's see if we get it. If so, then we can look to make some entries. But right now, she is still trying to push on up. So right now, we want to see it hold above $3. AFMD, just look at last Friday's spiking high, 1070. That's going to be a level of resistance. If we break out over that, this stock has, tons of potential to the upside over on AFMD, all the way up into the 1170s first. Then we can probably see it somewhere around 1283. So really over 1070, we have a lot of room to the upside on AFMD. But right now, traders are probably looking at that, high from Friday, saying, hey, if we ever get up to that high, that's going to be some resistance. Other traders are seeing that. Let's go ahead and lock in some profits, right? But definitely, we had the gap up. We're starting to curl. We have earnings tomorrow before market. No. So this would be earnings Thursday. So again, we have some technicals. We have some volume. We have some fundamentals coming up. Maybe we see some anticipation buying into earnings. So we might see that break happen today for a nice little push over 1070. I do think AMFD is definitely worth watching. We have MFMC on the halt scanner. All right. Okay. Let's definitely keep this one on high watch. This one got halted at 949.26. We're looking at 954.26. So here, any moment, we should be live on MFNC. Again, possible halt strategy here. If we ever came back down into the low 20s, 60 cents, 500 shares. You know, where could this go? These are new, at least 52-week highs. Support would be back down towards around $20.50 on MFNC. Didn't get the gap up. It did squeeze a little bit into the 21.95 level, which is over those pre-market highs. So pull back, next leg up, absolutely. MFNC, I definitely have this one on watch. Let's see if we get a couple candle pullback into maybe the mid-20s for a possible entry here. Again, back down towards around $20.50 would be awesome. Would be the best of the best sweet spot entry. But again, we could definitely hold up this 21 mark. How high could this stock go? These are new 52-week highs, but are they all-time highs? Looking like these are all-time highs. So the sky is the limit here over on MFNC. Right now, getting a little bit of a pullback off the highs, decreasing volume, holding up 21. You may see me start to build a position here. We do have better support at $20.52, so I wouldn't be taking 500 shares. I'd be, scaling into that play. I'm going to give it, about 5 more seconds, see how this candle closes out. Going to go ahead and get a little starter here going. I think this is going to be that pullback for the push. Right now I'm long at 21.26, looking for this candle here to be the one that pushes. If not, I'll average in off $20.52. LULD right now, limit up, limit down on MFNC is all the way down at 19.28, so definitely a long way to go. All right, here we go. Below 20. Let's see if we get that 21.50. So still waiting to see if this is going to hold 21 and start to move on up off 21. We do have the 9 EMA kind of curling right underneath these lows. Starting to give us a little bit of this flag formation, right? Just a nice little, pullback here into 21, into the 9. Next 1 minute candle to make a high. Definitely could bring in some action, some activity, but support is still back down towards around $20.50. Let's see how this candle closes out on MFNC. Right now you got an 8 million in float stock. You got some news. Got some good volume on this play, hitting new all-time highs. Overall, not looking terrible. As long as we hold 2050, not looking terrible. This one definitely has some great opportunity today. See if we can get that bounce off 2050 back over that $21 mark. Possibly get a push over 22 here. Right now, this is looking okay still. We have our nice pullback, decreasing volume. Just waiting for a shift. Looking for some buyers to come in off a level of support. And again, we determined $20.50 right off some of these pre-market highs. Intraday resistance. New support right around $20.50. MFNC, baby. Got about 10 seconds left on this 1 minute candle. And what do we look like on a 5? 5, not all that great. Right now, about a minute left on this 2 minute. Let's see if we close above the 9 with a nice little doji here at the bottom on the 2 minute. Might get a nice little reversal here, at least a retest of these highs up towards around 2170, 2180. Just throwing it right off those two candle bodies right around the 2170s on MFNC. All right, 10 seconds left so far. We got nice volume pushing the stock up, holding that 9 EMA right off that $20.50 mark. Let's see if we get a nice little open and a push back over 21 here on MFNC. Right now you got bids over 2060. Right now asks are kind of all over the place, back at $20.88. Spread's kind of opening up a little bit here on MFNC. I mean, again, at one point you had about a 20-cent spread. Now we're starting to see a little bit of action to it. I'm going to take some profit over 21 to be smart. You know, especially in this market, take some profit when you have it, right? So I went ahead and locked in a little bit there. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. Let's see if we can hold above that 9 and see if we can hold above 21 here on MFNC. Nice little reversal off the 9 EMA. Decreasing volume. About 30 seconds left on this candle. Right now it's a little all over the place. Back under 2075, that's where I'm going to go ahead and get out. At least be a little green on the play. So I don't like how choppy it is. So I went ahead and locked in something small, you know, little 33 bucks. You know, could have been bigger, could have ran all the way up to 2170. Absolutely. Could have made 500 bucks. But I'd rather lock it in when I have it versus sit here, hold it, hopefully it moves on up, and then get caught in what we're starting to see now. A little bit of nastiness. Little bit of nastiness. Nasty old red candle. GLSI. I mean, at first glance, I don't see news. I see an ugly daily chart. I see resistance at $40.21. Overall, I don't like GLSI. We don't have a lot of volume. Yes, it's moving on up, but there's not a catalyst. The daily chart doesn't look all that good. And then we look at volume. It doesn't really look all that sweet, right? So I think we have better opportunity out there versus GLSI. But definitely keep it on watch. If it does want to hold on up, maybe there's some potential. But right now, looking at it at first glance, not seeing too much. And there was your opportunity, guys, over on VTVT. Again, we were talking about this about 9:48 when it was tagging that 311, right? It tried again. What did it do? It pulled back to $3. I said, wait for a little bit of a pullback first. Try and get in as low to 3 as possible, and then look for the move up. And we actually got that, right? It came over, curled, bounced 3. Nice little push to the upside on VTVT. So right now, pull back down to 325. Be looking to take it for a bounce back up to retest the 340s. Stops I'd put under that 9 EMA because so far the day we've respected the 9 EMA really nice. That right now is around 320. Again, let's see if we get a nice little pullback here over on BTVT for a possible little bounce play off that 325. Yeah, baby. As Jeff would say, smash that like button, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the stream. Today we got a good lesson. Volume, right? We just talked a little bit about NV. No, it wasn't NVCR. Where was it at? MFNC, right? MFNC on how we were really looking at this for that nice volume pullback into that level of support. So this is kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is how we can apply volume as a good piece of criteria when looking at certain setups. How volume is very, very, very important. So again, around 11:30, we'll be diving into our volume lesson. So still sitting back, being patient on BTVT. I'd like to see it really quickly on this candle. Whoop! But this could definitely be that higher low push. So right now, looks like 330 is trying to hold up, but we do have better support at 325. But right now, BTVT's got a lot of momentum. Traders are liking it. Traders are trying to get something going. Over that 342, 350. We have room up to 359 over on a VT. And I'm sitting here jumping up and down. My legs are twitching. I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. All right, beautiful sons of bitches, I'm back. What do we got going on? You got BTVT creeping up to the new high a day. Really respecting that 9 EMA. You guys know me, though. I like to find a couple different reasons to be taking trades. And if we could have pulled back into that 325, 326, that's where I was wanting to take this. Never made it down low enough. But again, I was looking for more of that sweet spot entry. Not trying to get in too early. Not chasing this. Getting in up in the high 330. So, you know, right now I'm just sitting back on my hands. Right? We're only 40 minutes into the market. We're only 40 minutes in right now. Mike A, smashing that like button 1,000 times, man. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support. AFMD, room up to that 1070. Right now, again, I'm just, you know, sitting back. I'm not really liking too much, guys. Not really liking too much. I still think MFNC has a lot of great potential. NVCR looking a little weak at this point in time. RIOT, not looking all that great as well. RIGL was a play from this morning. Really choppy. I mean, we'll keep it on watch, but right now, not looking all that great. And then we have VTVT double topping up around 340. So not looking all that great. We see a little bit of, you know, divergence on the RSI. Clean double top with a lot of selling volume, right? So we hold 325, we could definitely pop back up over the 350s, but right now, it's not looking all that great to the long side. So let's sit back, sit on our hands, and wait to see if BTBT can actually hold on up, right? We also have LYL was a play from last night. This one has a lot of resistance around 187 to 190. So yeah, it looks like we're getting some volume. We are maybe breaking this downtrend. But again, you have resistance at 182. You also have resistance at 187 to 190. So as far as like risk reward, it doesn't really make sense on LYL, right? Could it rep all the way to 210, 230, get halted? Absolutely. But the odds in this market are slim, right? We know the market's not hot. We know that we'll probably have a lot of this resistance be respected. So that being said, we got room up to the 187, 190. Again, the previous low is 170, so that's your current level of support. It'll be back down towards around the 170 area. But LYL is trying to get some action to it right now. Let's see if it can break up over that 187, 188. All right, nice break, pull back, then we look to go long. Not chasing the breakouts, not being the guinea pig. Right now we see we have a lot of volume, but it's really struggling to get over that 190. Oof, look at that. Look at that. Yes, indeed it did. And here's the thing, guys. Like, again, at this point in time, I see this. Not a bad setup, right? It comes down and it bounces. It comes down, puts in a higher low. We see volume move in, right? We see the decrease in volume. We see volume move in, holding the 9. This is a strategy that I've taken a lot of times. And 80% of the time, this is a setup that you would normally get that break and a quick pop. But the market isn't healthy, and that's why we're seeing a lot of this. We're seeing good setups turn into ugliness. We're seeing ugliness actually rip and run. So overall, it does make it challenging because, again, when you are in the market for 5 years and you see these setups and you've taken them 100% of the time, 80% of the time they work, but you're in a unhealthy market and you see a good setup turn into a crappy setup, watch that crappy setup turn into a good setup. It makes it a little... I wouldn't really say frustrating, but definitely makes you want to sit on your hands a little bit. And you do miss out on some plays, right? But I'd rather, again, sit out, miss out on plays versus putting myself into a position where I'm losing money. So LYL, right up into that 190 resistance. Let's see how far this is going to pull back. Let's see if this is going to get rejected and just fall on off. Let's make sure we're not missing anything. MFNC, VTVT, we talked about it. CAN is on our leaderboard. Let's just look at CAN. Can. 80 million in flow. So again, the top two low float stocks we have, MFNC, it's starting to fade on off. And LYL, trying to hold the downtrend. Looking to possibly get a break up over 190 on LYL. So LYL is not looking all that bad. LYL looks like it's going to break up over that 190 right here. But again, I can't touch it. Not touching a breakout. Not going to happen in this market. Let's wait and see if it breaks out. Let's not be the guinea pig. Let it break out. Let it pull back. Let's see if it can hold a breakout here. So you got a little pop up to 190. Right now you got some selling moving on in. Back down to 187, 188, 187. Got about 24,000 shares. He's getting taken out. So we're starting to see some nice action through the 190. Let's see if we get a nice break and hold. Nice little pullback. Look to make a possible entry up towards around 2. And $2 is key. Why is $2 a key level of resistance? Well, it's the 200-day moving average, right? Right around that 203, 204. And then you got $2 natural resistance as well. So you do have a lot of overhead resistance on LYL. Up towards around that $2 mark. Right now, it's fighting to close over 190, but we see how it's just getting pushed back down, That doesn't really give me any confidence that buyers are in control right now. It's definitely a mixture between buyers and sellers. So let's see if, one can dominate the other here. Right now, not long, not in, not interested. See if we have any option plays for today. Do we have anything setting up on El Disney? Not at this point in time. What about that snappity chat? What do we got going on here? Look at that, just massive downtrend that we just broke above. So right now we have this massive downtrend, got a break, retested it. We could easily start just, climbing back up over on SNAP. You have room up to VWAP. Support right now is right underneath these lows at 61.93 over on Snap. Boing. Nothing really going on there with Boing. Nothing going on with Microsoft. Tesla, nice little push up over the 50-day moving average. So Tesla not having a bad day. Tesla definitely has some room to the upside. Absolutely. Now that we're back above that 50-day, Tesla doesn't look all that bad. Right now, Tesla, you got support around that 726 with resistance around the 729.44. MFNC still fading on off. AFMD's really trying to get this nice big double bottom off VWAP. So FD has some great potential. We can break this downtrend off this double bottom up to the 170s over on AFMD. So AFMD has some great potential coming on up. So AFMD, waiting to see what we look like. This is the third touch of the downtrend. Like we said, you know, it's 50-50 on the third touch. We get that higher low into a fourth touch, the odds increase. So we'll kind of sit back and wait on that. VT is just very, very choppy, guys. I mean, yeah, it's up, right? It's number 3 on the leaderboard. It's up 30%. But, I mean, look how choppy it is. I mean, I'm not a fan of the chop, personally. If you guys like chop, you got support at 325. You got resistance in the mid-340s. You have room up to 360. If you don't mind the chop, personal preference, I'm not a fan of this price action over on VT. So we have any questions, comments, concerns? Market's still a little on the slow side. All right, any questions, comments, concerns? Now's a good time that I can kind of review some tickers, answer you guys' questions, and try and get through this slow slump until we have maybe some action on a stock. But right now, definitely looks like traders are still looking at VT. It is just a little messy, a little choppy. You got NVCR just falling, AFMD. We do have potential for a nice, possibly, 30, 40 cent move if we can break the downtrend up into the 1070s. This one does have earnings coming on up Thursday morning, so you may see some anticipation buying today and tomorrow in regards to those earnings. They had a price target raised to $15 from $12 over on AFMD. I'm actually long RIGL for this curl and for this possible pop over VWAP. So if we're looking at RIGL, what we kind of see here is we have this higher low off that previous high, looking to get this nice U shape. Actually looking at it on a 2-minute chart, we just see that it's respecting the 9, getting that nice little U shape, volume moving in, giving it a few cents of breathing room. Let's see if we get that pop up over VWAP into the 350s over on RIGL. I do like the setup. We just need to see more volume actually move on in. The setup's not bad. We just need volume. It's 344 right into VWAP. Let's see if we can get those bids on up over. So we need to see bids over 345. There we got 345. Now we need bids to hold that. There we go, 346. Got resistance at 350. 346. I don't want to see it back below 345 ideally. We want to see this volume hold. We want to see buyers continue to move on up and get this thing rocking and rolling. There's 347. Good volume. Got about 14,000 shares at 350. Let's see if we can take him out. Let's see if we can take that 14,000 share order out at 350. Get a nice little pop over 350. You got 15K. He's down to 14K. Oh, he took his order out or something there. I'm going to take a little profit over 350. Be smart with it. Taking a little profit over 350. I'm going to leave a runner on the table, guys. So what I'm going to go ahead and do in this kind of market is I'm going to put a stop order in at my entry at $3.42. That right now in the system, RIGL took it for about 10 cents, 60 bucks. I'm leaving a runner on the table at break even. In this market, anything could happen. Lock in profit when you have it. And then I do have a runner right now at my entry at 342, break even. We'll let RIGL do its thing if it's going to move on up. All right, so we'll let RIGL do its thing if it wants to keep moving on up. You got a little bit of this bullish flag starting to form over on AFMD. All right, so we got a little bit of this bull flag. You got a nice pop up, consolidating above the 9 in the VWAP. If we break out of this flag, look for a move up to 1070 on AFMD. We got DSWL hitting the breakout scanner. Let's just go check out DSWL real quick. See what's going on there. Nothing going on there. WIMI, WIMI. WIMI, lot of resistance at 626, 13-day moving average. It did double bottom on the daily chart, but again, we have that key level of resistance right here around 627. We can see it was respected in pre-market. We can see it's holding it down as resistance right now, so we need to wait for it to actually break and hold that level before we go long, because what could happen? You're trying to go long for a breakout in this market, watch for the stock to move all the way back down to $6 support. So definitely WIMI has potential. Again, if we can break over and hold that 625 mark. So we're starting to see that break over on AFMD out of that downtrend, out of that little flag formation. So I know a couple of you were looking over at AFMD. If you're able to grab that trade in the 1030s, awesome work. We want to see some volume really move in now over that high. All right, this is what we want to see. We're starting to break. We want to see some nice volume move in and easily push this over 1050. We don't want to see any hesitation. We don't want to see this really hold down as resistance. This flag is a continuation pattern. We want to see this leg up continue again into that 1070 resistance mark, and that's a good area to take some profits. Now, if we look at VT, our next level of resistance is going to be this 360 mark. So you got RIGL climbing, slow and steady, slow and steady. Volume is following suit. Along the push, increased volume. Along the pullback, decreased volume. Along the push, increased volume. Along this pullback, decreased volume. So volume's following suit. We have support off the previous high. We have support at VWAP in the 9 EMA, and we also have this uptrend. So overall, looking at it from an analysis standpoint, this looks really, really good for an entry. Put stops under 340, right? If it cracks and comes down, put your stops under 340. This one has potential to get this next leg up into the 360s over on RIGL. I didn't see your live stream from yesterday posted. I finished watching after I got home, and I was disappointed. Yeah, I noticed it didn't get uploaded either, so I'll check that out and see if maybe I didn't hit that publish button, and we'll definitely get it published if we can get it up there for you guys. Oh, I know you are, man. Give me a hard time. It's all good. I'll definitely find out how to get that posted for you guys if we have it. But right now, RIGL definitely looking like it wants to get up over that 350 for a possible pop-up 360. So right now, I still have my stop in at that 342 on my other 625 shares. I'm going to wait for this candle to close out. And if we start seeing some more momentum and price action, I may actually take another position on this for a scalp up into the 360s. But right now, we're just going to sit back and wait for RIGL to really do its thing. But yeah, market's a little all over the place, right? Just be safe, be smart. You have a good setup here on MFNC. You're starting to see another decent little setup here. But again, I don't trust it. I do not trust it. And look at what we're seeing, right? Good thing I don't trust MFNC because it's just a little all over the place. So that's why I'm being extra patient today. Really taking smaller size. And really just trying to identify where the best of the best opportunity is. We only need one really good setup, one really strong stock. And right now, as we scan through the leaderboard, we really don't see that. You know, WIMI, we have a lot of resistance where we're at, right? MFNC is a little all over the place. AFMD had volume move in off the break of the downtrend, and then look, it's just getting destroyed. You know, we had NVCR that had potential today. This one right now, not looking all that great. The only thing that we may have right now is this double bottom off this 345 support on RIGL. Again, I'm not a fan of VTVT just because it's choppy, but it is tradable as long as the technicals are respected. But personally, am I going to be trading this one? No, not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. I think at any point in time, we're going to see this reverse. At any point in time, I think we're going to see this back down towards around $3. And then LYL is just very, very choppy as well. But again, we did come down to the 184. We're holding as support. This has potential back up to 2 over on LYL. So if you're interested, your stops would be under 183, 182. You know, about 7 cents of risk, looking for a push up to the $2 area on LYL. So I'm actually grabbing another little entry here on RIGL. My average cost basis went to 345. Right now we see support is at 345. So if I see 344 on the bid, I'm going to go ahead and just walk away from this play. All right, now if this is going to hold, if this is going to move, we do not want to see it back down at that 344 mark, and that's actually where I have my hard stop in the system right now on RIGL. We want to see the bids hold above 345 and go ahead and get this leg up right about now. So I do have hard stops in the system for my 1,200 shares at 344, 1 cent below my entry. So worst case, I get stopped out at a $12 loss. But I think, you know, I'm definitely giving it enough room. This is a setup that we want to see hold this level and get a push. If it comes down, it's probably going to crack into the 335s. So right now, I know my stop's tight, but on this particular setup, we want to see it go ahead and boom, get the bounce off the 9. Get the bounce off VWAP. Get the bounce off that trend line. Get the bounce off that previous high, right? So this is that sweet spot that we want to go ahead and see this move on up. If it doesn't, most likely coming down, I'm okay with taking a $10 loss on the play, keeping my stops extra tight. especially in this market. WIMI, proper resistance off that 627, starting to double top a little bit. ETVT, looking a little weak right now. How is PLTR today? Let's just go look at PLTR real quick. PLTR, Plantier Technologies. This one has room up to around that 24.3, 24.4. Slow and steady uptrend. This one's actually a nice little slow and steady uptrend. I mean, what do? We broke out, pulled back, breaking out, pulling back, right? So we can see that we have the nice big push, we pulled back. Nice push, little pullback. We're starting to lose a little bit of momentum though, aren't we, right? Starting to lose a little bit of momentum. Each push is more shallow, more shallow, more shallow, but it does have room off a slow, steady grind up to $24.30 first. You can throw a little bit of this uptrend here on VTBT. I just see a lot of weakness on this play. Regardless of holding support, I see weakness personally. And I personally think that we're going to see this crack the 340 and move back down into the 320s. Again, that's just me. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I'm not right 100% of the time. But looking at the RSI, looking at just all of the variables, it to me looks like we're going to crack this level and move on down into probably that VWAP, maybe around that 323 over on VTVT. So that's why I'm not touching it. And yeah, guys, pretty slow. So yeah, hit me up with some questions, guys. Shoot away. Questions, comments, concerns. Might as well spend this time wisely and at least drop some value, guys. Make sure you guys are always getting value while you're here, especially when the market is slow. So one last little scanning around, see if we got anything. Mike had a question. Oh, okay, here we go. My bad, I missed that one. So in the level 2 video, can you go over that? Those numbers were moving so fast. So yeah, that was a live level 2 example. I can't remember the ticker, but basically how the level 2 is and how you can utilize it to spot, you know, big levels of support and resistance. And I'm not mistaken, if you're regarding the level 2 lesson where we had a 20-cent channel, right? Whatever the stock was, it was trading between a level of support and resistance about 20 cents. And based on that lesson, we were looking at the level 2, and we could see the chart had resistance at a level, had support at a level. Anytime we saw the stock come up, we had a big seller, right? We had a huge seller that was holding the stock down. Anytime the stock came down to that 20-cent support level, we could see we had a big buyer. And for a good 15 to 20 minutes in that lesson, we saw the stock bouncing between those levels of support and resistance, right? And we could see that not only on the chart that we had support resistance, we could see that on the level 2 because we had a big seller holding the stock down and we had a big buyer holding the stock up, right? And in that lesson, when that stock was at support, we had a big buyer. We saw that share, that big order, he was getting taken out. So hypothetically, let's say it was a 20,000 share bid at that level of support. We saw it at 17. It went down to 16, 15, back up to 20, down to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And we could get an idea that that stock was getting ready to crack support because we were looking at the level 2. We saw, right? And I know this is all hypothetical and this is more related to Mike. right? Because he was watching that lesson. But we saw that big order on the BS, the bid size at 20K. He went down 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. You could see that his order was getting hit hard, right? We could see blocks of red on the time and sales, right? We saw that his order was getting taken out. So boom, he had 20K. He was getting filled 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, all the way down to 0. And then boom, the stock cracked 40 cents in the matter of seconds. And that lesson was basically how to read the level 2 in regards to support resistance and how you can get an edge by reading the level 2, especially when you have significant buyers and sellers that are either A, propping the stock up as support, or B, holding the stock down as resistance. You can see the big buyer getting taken out. That's a good indication that the stock's going to dump. You can see a big seller getting taken out. That's a great indication that the stock can break out over resistance based on the level 2. Now, how do you see it so fast? Experience, Mike. Understanding the level 2. Understand what you're looking at. Getting into a paper account, right? And looking at the level 2 80% of the time while you're in a trade. And just getting familiar and comfortable with looking at the level 2, what it means, and it just will come in time. The first couple of months of me utilizing the level 2, it was confusing. It moved so fast. I never thought I was going to master it. But in time, it becomes easier. So really, Mike, it's just practice, looking at it while you're in a trade. The more you look at it, the more you utilize it, the more it'll make sense, and the more you'll understand exactly how to utilize that in your trade. So again, I wish, I could be like, yeah, I gotta, my eyes are just fast, right? Right? I'm just I'm a superhuman, right? I can slow down time, right? I slow down time, and that level 2 moves so slow because I have a superpower of slowing down time. No, that's not it. It's just a lot of years of experience of utilizing the level 2, reading the level 2, and now I can spot these signals of weakness and strength when it comes to support and resistance based on share size at these levels. So again, you know what the level 2 is. You have a basic understanding. You have knowledge on it, how it works, why we utilize it. Now it's just applying that and actually studying it, using it while you're in your trades, and eventually it will make sense. That is the hardest thing to teach, is that level 2, because again, it's intimidating. It moves fast. Sometimes you don't even know what you're looking at, and that's normal, Mike. So you're not the only person feeling that way. I felt that way whenever I was a newer trader as well. Yeah, so right now this level 2 is showing the stock that I'm currently looking at on my chart because I have them linked. So if I go from RIGL to VTVT, the level 2 is going to change in correlation with the stock as well. So right now, guys, it is very slow. All right, it is very slow. The only thing that we have moving up on very light volume, all right? Keep in mind, yeah, it's moving up, but it's extremely light volume. We have RIGL. What's going on with VTVT? I said I didn't like it. It looked pretty weak, right? I expected to see this down into the VWAP or maybe that 323. It's working its way on down. WIMI is trying really hard to get above and stay above that 625, 627. Very, very choppy right now, though. Not liking the market, so if anything, just going to sit on those beautiful hands of mine. No reason to get involved in anything. I don't see any reason to get involved in anything at this point in time. Again, just kind of scanning through. Maybe some options plays. And this is why I do not trade Tesla. All right. You see Tesla. Tesla has a proper setup. And again, this is just me and Tesla for some reason. You see a nice little setup, right? Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. You get the lower low, the lower high, it's looking weak, and then boom! Breaking on out to new all-time highs. That's why I was down $200 on Tesla, right? I saw this little double bottom here. Was going long off the double bottom for the break off 730. What happens? Whoop! Basically, institutions, whatever you want to call it, brings the price down under support, taking out all of the long traders. Retail traders are looking to short the stock below support as well. So you're providing what's called a liquidity pool, right? Long traders have stops here, right? Short traders have, orders ready to go to get the short side. That's providing liquidity. So institutions will actually manipulate this bring price down into that, liquidity pool, get their fills, and then drive the stock in their direction. So when you see stuff like this, this is meant to happen, right? The big boys, the big players are doing this intentionally to provide that liquidity, to get what they want, to push it in the direction that they want as well. So basically taking advantage of these small traders like us retail traders. They do this intentionally, right? We see it right here as well. Stock makes a lower low, not looking like it really is going to do anything. Boom, nice big pop. Stock makes the lower low, providing that liquidity pool for institutions. Boom, stock ripping and running, 14 points, 13 points. So little tip right now. I don't really focus on that too much. Again, on these larger cap stocks like Tesla, that is something that happens, and it's just something to be mindful of. But overall, guys, we're going to probably dive into a lesson here momentarily just because there's not a lot of action right now in the stock market, okay? So no sense in sitting here trying to force any trades. Right now, it is a little slow, a little sideways, not a lot of opportunity, but that could change, right? It only takes one stock to really get going. But right now, I don't see that anywhere. So let's go ahead and dive into some of our volume leaders and see if there's anything moving that we really haven't even looked at today. Is there anything going on with AMC? AMC is getting a nice little push to it today. Beautiful meme stock. Right up into that 50-day at the 917. So that's why we see some resistance right up here off these highs on AMC. ELTR we've talked about. AMD. Pfizer, PFE. Again, I'm just kind of scanning through, seeing if anything stands out. Maybe something we haven't looked at yet. If there's any opportunity, right? Because we're here to make money. We want to make money, but at the same time, if there's no opportunity, we're not going to get involved in something that's going to just give us an unnecessary loss, right? So right now, let's take that whole liquidity pool thing into and apply it real quick, right? So right now, as a retail trader, where do I see support? As a retail trader, I see support back down towards around 617.42. As a retail trader, I see the stock bouncing off VWAP. So as a retail trader, I say, hey, we're right near support. We could definitely push back up. Let's see what happens on NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA is moving really nice today, right? NVIDIA is currently up 10 points. That's a really, really nice move. Let's see what happens. Is it going to come down and bounce beautifully? Is it going to come down into the 616s? Possibly, shake some of these longs out, get these shorts in, and then squeeze them back out, right? What's going to happen here? Let's see if that example of liquidity pool, plays out on something like NVIDIA. It's a large cap stock. Institutions play these big boy movers, right? So let's see if they're going to manipulate this, bring it down into their level just to push it where they want to go. So we'll see. I appreciate that support, my man. Mr. Mike saying the course is awesome. The short videos are easy to understand. Yeah, and I like to break it down too. I mean, that's why there's like 50-some chapters. Each lesson, could be as short as 5 minutes on a simple lesson, could be as long as an hour on something that, I just rant and ramble, but it's good, valuable information. So I definitely love the course. I'm not being biased, but, it took me 4 months to put together. So that's how much time I put into this. And it's definitely, in my opinion, one of the best courses out there. And again, I'm not trying to be biased, but I've done my research. I've been in the market. I've been a trader, looked at courses, prices, what they offer. And, I was very up to date, right? I was very, informative on what was out there and how I can make it better. So I offered more for substantially less. But I'm glad you love the course and you're getting value from it. Trading the market, I would love to see WIMI just rip through that 635 level. I would too. I love the optimism. I'm not so optimistic because the market's not hot for me to be like, yeah, baby, let's get that rip. You know what I mean? It's just, nothing really looks all that great. But again, I would love to see a stock really pick up some action today. I'd like to see something really steal some volume. really get going, eliminate all this really nasty choppiness. And that's one thing I noticed as well. Some courses that were built 5, 6, 7 years ago, they're outdated, they're old, they're not, and that's what I like to do is periodically I'm uploading new lessons. If you're enrolled for the course, you just got an email this morning stating I uploaded 3 brand new lessons to the course. So anytime I have a good topic, I'm going to upload it to the course if it's not in there. Anytime I feel like, hey, I did a fib lesson, but I want to add to it, I'm going to redo it, and I'm going to always keep that fresh. And the beautiful thing about it is you get the course for life. Once you get it, it's yours. So through the updates, me adding stuff, you're always getting that absolutely free because, again, you have access for life. So I'm glad you like it, man. So we were looking at what were we looking at? Microsoft NVIDIA. So as a retail trader, I see support down here into the 617s. We look at yesterday's resistance right down to the 614s. So let's go ahead and do this. It's about 10:51 in the market. I don't really see too much going on. So why not, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and dive on into a lesson. And today's lesson is very basic. Today's lesson is very simple, but I really want to break down volume and how we utilize volume in almost every one of our setups. Volume is a great piece of criteria that we want to see met in a good majority of our setups. I mean, bull flags, right? Ascending triangles, reversals. I mean, overall, volume is a great tool, is a great indicator to use to help get that extra bit of confirmation that a setup can go in your favor. So let's start with the absolute basics right from Investopedia.com, ladies and gentlemen, and really just break down what volume is. So trading volume is a measure of how much of a given financial asset has traded in a period of time. So for stocks, volume is measured in the number of shares that have traded. For futures and for options, it's based on how many contracts have changed hands, okay? So a couple takeaways is, again, we know that volume is a measure of how much a given financial asset has traded in a period of time, right? So again, when we're looking at volume on the daily, this is how much volume traded this day. If we're looking at a 2-minute candlestick chart, this is how much volume traded in this 2-minute time period. We go to a 5-minute chart. This is how much volume traded in a 5-minute time period, right? And we can see that volume represented down here on our volume chart, on our volume graph, right here at the very bottom. So you can hover your cursor over that and you can see the volume for that 5-minute time period was 967,647 shares. So that traded almost 1 million shares in this 5-minute candle. So again, volume is represented based on the time frame that you're on. Again, 5-minute, this is how much volume traded within 5 minutes. On a daily chart, this is how much volume has traded for the entire trading day, right? So a couple key takeaways. Volume measures, again, the number of shares traded in a stock or contracts traded in futures or options. Volume can be an indicator of market strength, right? As markets are rising on increased volume, that's typically viewed as strong and healthy. How many times have we said, hey, the stock just broke out, the stock just ripped and ran on increased volume? That shows that that was a strong and healthy move to the upside. One other thing you've heard me say quite a bit is when we see those breaks, we see those big moves, but it occurs on decreasing volume, that is a sign of weakness, right? If the stock goes from $3 to $4, we want to see volume increase. That shows that Traders are interested. They're buying it up. There's more traders getting involved boop, 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 to push the price up. Again, increased volume. Now, if we see that same break, that same move from $3 to $4, but we see it's on decreasing volume, that could be a sign of weak and unhealthy. Okay? So again, volume can be an indication of market strength. When markets are moving up on increasing volume, traders view that as being strong and healthy. When price falls on increased volume, the trend is gathering strength to the downside. So again, when you see a stock pulling back, when you see a stock falling on increased volume, that shows that there's more sellers coming in. There's more shorts moving in. That stock, that trend, that pullback, that sell-off, right, is gathering strength to the downside. So the odds of seeing a great reversal really are not in your favor. How many times have you heard me say, hey, we got our break on increased volume. We're pulling back on decreased volume, right? Decreased volume because sellers are slowly working their way out of the stock, right? Everybody taking profit. All the sellers are being depleted. That's why we see volume going down. And then we could see the transition from buyers to get that reversal back to the upside. But if we see that pullback occurring on stronger volume, on increasing volume, that's telling me like, hey, I'm seeing some strength on this pullback. It's not a decreasing volume pullback. Traders aren't being depleted. If anything, traders are, selling more and more and more and more, right? There's more volume, there's more selling pressure, so I wouldn't really be looking at that for a possible reversal based on that example. So again, when price falls on increased volume, that's a good signal that that trend, that stock is gathering some strength to the downside, all right? When prices reach new highs or new lows on decreasing volume, a reversal might be taking shape, right? How many times I said, hey, breakout, pullback, right? When the price reaches a new high and it pulls back on decreasing volume, we might see a reversal, okay? On balance, volume, and killing indicator, no one cares about that. So another little breakdown on volume. So if I buy one share and I sell one share, the volume count's not one. The volume count's not one. If I buy one share right now and I sell a share, the volume count would not be one. The volume count would be two. My entry counts as one. My sell counts as one. So when we see 52,000 shares traded, that's how many shares have been circulated. It's not just how many buy or sell, right? Basically, how many times has that share been circulated? So again, a buy order counts, a sell order counts. If I buy one share and then I sell the share, that volume count would be two. The volume count would not be one. So again, that gives you a good little idea of volume, how it's calculated based on the time frame, and again, how traders and how investors use volume to determine, hey, is this a healthy move to the upside? Is this a strong move to the upside? Or is this a weak move to the upside? For the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at the SPY, and I see the SPY day after day after day after day hitting new all-time highs. But what's one thing I see on the SPY? We're losing volume day after day after day after day. Now, is that 100% that this is weak, it's going to reverse? No. But it's a great indication of, Jesus, we are making new all-time highs. This is slow and steady to the upside, but every day it occurs on less and less volume. So that's something I take in consideration that, hey, we may be due for a pullback because we are moving up on decreased volume, and that shows a sign of weakness. Now, on the other hand, if we were moving up on increased volume, that shows strength, that shows health, that we're still good. We're still in the solid, healthy, strong uptrend. But using SPY as an example, when I see that stock moving from 400 to 412, and over the last 2 to 3 weeks, every day has been less and less and less volume, the price is moving up on less buyers. That to me shows some weakness, right? Would I want to be going long on the SPY? No, because based on that volume, I'm starting to see a little bit of weakness on that stock. Let's go ahead and give you guys a real-time example on how we can use volume in some of our strategies to help determine are these good entries. Again, pullbacks, whatever the case is. So let's see if we can't find an example real quick on one of these stocks that we were looking at this morning. So again, the market's been choppy. It may be really, really hard for me to get an example. But again, I want to be able to apply that into this lesson. So with that being said, we could look at RIGL, right? We can get the concept from RIGL based on what we just talked about, okay? So we see the stock moving down, right? Moving down, and we see this move here, right? We see this bounce off 330. The stock moves all the way up to 345. What's one thing I notice? Okay, that was a healthy move, right? We actually had more buyers move in. We had more shares move in, right? The volume increased along the move up. That shows me that was a healthy move to the upside. The price didn't move up on decreased volume. The price moved up on on increased volume, right? So again, that shows, okay, that was a healthy move to the upside. Now, what do we see here? The stock is now starting to pull back, right? We have sellers moving in. It's coming back down. We know that we want to see a pullback into a level of support, right? We could utilize that 9 EMA. We can utilize that previous high right here, some previous lows as being a good level of support. So let's just go ahead and say we determined at this point in time, this was a good level of support, right? The stock ran all the way to 345. We can see here that support's at 338. What do we want to see as the stock comes back down into that 338? Ideally, we want to see it occur on less volume. Why? That shows me that we're having profit takers at 345. Traders taking profit. And as we move down, there's less and less and less and less and less traders taking profit. They've been depleted, right? We have more potential for buyers to move in to push the price back up because we depleted the sellers. We have potential for buyers to take control to get the price back up. So when we see this push and we see this pullback, the push, occurred on increased volume. This pullback is occurring on decreased volume. That to me looks very healthy. So when I'm looking at a pullback strategy, let's say I wanted to take that trade at 338, right? We have the 9 EMA. We have prior support resistance. We have a healthy move to the upside. We have a healthy pullback. That volume is really a key piece. Now, if that volume was increasing to the downside and we saw more and more and more and more sellers move in, right? I wouldn't be too certain that we could see a transition from sellers to buyers because sellers, in my opinion, are in control, right? The volume is increasing. There's more and more sellers moving in. So the odds of a reversal are less. If anything, I would expect to see that level of support crack and for that to move even lower. But we decreased, right? Sellers were being depleted into that level of support. Now we want to wait for a transition. We want to see, again, sellers being depleted. We want to see volume move in along a push to the upside. We want to see buyers transition back into the stock to push it up. So what do we have here, right? Increase move to the upside, decrease pullback, nothing really happening. We're at support, but look at how that volume tapered off. You see that? You see how that volume really just tapered off? Boom, 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 almost to nothing. 19,000 shares. So again, at the peak of that move, it's trading 200,000 shares. At this floor of support that we've determined based on the 9 past chart, right there, we have 19,000 shares being traded. We could see here that we don't have a lot of buyers. We don't have a lot of sellers. That's great. We've depleted the sellers. Now we just need to see buyers move back in. So we need to see a pop in volume off support. Do we get that? Look at that. Boom. Right? So we got our pullback. Sellers were depleted. We saw the transition from selling to buying. Right? And we see that here on the chart. We see that here on the volume. That's what we want to see. Assuming we were making our entries at 338 and we just leveled off and flatlined and we never got that pop in volume, you may be wanting to think, hey, we could see this dump, right? We don't have volume. We don't have a lot of buyers or sellers. Any order that comes through could really get the stock going. It could definitely crack support. Could it move to the upside? Yes, it could. But it's 50-50 if we don't have volume. Right here, we just increased our odds. If we were long at 338 and we saw that green candle right here and we saw the volume, right there, that gives us more confidence like, okay, cool, right? We saw that increase in volume. That right there increases my odds, and my confidence of say, okay, 50-50, now I'm looking 70-30, 80-20, that we should see the next leg up, right? We want to see buyers increase. We want to see volume continue to increase. Boom, look at that. Another big pop in volume that blew past that previous volume high right there. So this, guys, is a beautiful live example of when we see volume move into a stock, right? If you're looking for the pullback, you've identified your level of support, where you think the stock can pull back to before making the next leg up, right? And now we apply volume. Okay, the move up, increased volume. The pullback, decreased volume. I'm making my entries, right? I want to see volume move in. If I don't see volume move in and we flatline for a few moments and we don't have that pop in volume like we need to see, I'm going to cut my trade and get out because it's a 50-50 trade. It's a gamble, and we're not here to gamble. So assuming I made that entry right here at this point in time, boom, I would have got some confirmation like, good. We got volume moving in, trade's looking good. I'm not too scared now, right? I'm thinking more 70, 30, 80, 20 odds that this stock is going to have another candle with bigger volume to get it going. Boom. There we go. Beautiful, right? Taking some profits, right? I'm locking in some gains off that big move up into 350, right? What happens? Pulls back. Pulls back. Look at that. We're seeing it again. Move to the upside, increased volume. Stocks pulling back, decreased volume. Let's assume that we want to take this trade off that previous high, 344, right? So come down, waiting, no volume. This would have concerned me a little bit, right? Decreasing volume. Now we're seeing more selling volume move in, and we can see that it's right there at that level of support. So that's not the greatest trade. This was a really sweet setup. This one is a little concerning at this point in time. Looking at the chart, we're back below VWAP. We're back below the 9 EMA. We had a lot of selling move in compared to where we were just at over the last 3 minutes. I mean, we 2x'd the volume. Volume here was 37,000. Volume here was 71,000. So we had 2 times more volume on that 1 minute candle that put it back below VWAP and the 9 EMA as far as what we were looking at as far as support. That's not a good indication. Now, did the stock move up? I think it did. But again, at that point in time, that wasn't a good indication to take that one long. It wasn't, woo, baby, 80-20 setup. Right now, you're kind of thinking 50-50, right? Kind of 50-50. It's not a clean candle. So again, what happened? We actually had a lot of volume move in on this candle right off support. This candle actually wasn't as big as the previous candle, but it occurred on more buying volume. So at that point in time, that could be a great indication that we're having increased volume move in now off support, and we can see that it's buying volume. Moving on, we got the push up, right? But we can see here that it's not always going to be 100% clean. We can see here that we had volume increase, a little bit of less volume. We had more volume move in. It became a little choppy. So we can see, again, like any indicator, like any study, anything that you use, the RSI, the VWAP, the 9 EMA, a fib, right? You do not utilize these indicators and these studies as standalone, not by themselves. You use them in conjunction with other forms of technical analysis. If, Wesley was here, he'd be like, yep, I get it. You've always talked about, 3 to 4 separate reasons. You stress it a lot in your lessons. I do stress, the 3 to 4 separate reasons to take a trade, because not one form of technical analysis, like volume, is able to be used as a standalone indicator. You can't just use volume and expect to have a good win rate. If you use volume in conjunction with the RSI, if it's valid, with prior levels of support resistance, a fib retracement, the 9 EMA, right? Things that work for you, and you can use that volume as an indication in conjunction with other forms of technical analysis, it's only going to increase your odds, because look, yeah, volume followed suit beautifully along these 2 pushes. 1 push, 2. Volume was beautiful. This is a perfect example of what you want to see. But then we can see volume wasn't as beautiful as it was the first 2. That's why we want to use, again, other forms of technical analysis in conjunction just to increase those odds, and always to have 3 to 4 separate reasons to take a trade. Excuse me. Woo! To take a trade. All right, so again, volume, what it means, how traders utilize it, and how we can utilize it on setups, right? Now, again, if we have a live example of like a bull flag, of a descending triangle, a cup and handle, we will definitely be applying volume in conjunction with those technicals, okay? So volume, I would say, guys, get in the habit of always looking at the volume and utilizing it as part of your criteria for a particular setup, right? Volume is very, very powerful. Volume really does increase your odds and gives you more of an edge in the market if you know how to read volume and kind of what to look for based on those types of setups. And every setup is going to have different criteria that needs to be met when it comes to volume, all right? So again, quick little volume lesson. I know it was very simple, very basic, but I was a new trader at one point. I didn't really utilize volume. And as I started doing that, I started realizing, oh, this is a healthy pullback. This is not a healthy pullback. Oh, this is a healthy break to the upside. Or, hey, this is not a healthy pullback. Or this is not a healthy move to the upside, right? So as I use volume, I can kind of get an edge on, is this a good, strong move? Or is this a weak move that we may actually see it reverse and come back down? So volume is very, very powerful. Okay, guys. So let me go ahead and scan through real quick and just see if I have any other kind of example that really stands out in regards to utilizing volume on, particular setups. But right now, again, the market's extremely slow. So here we go. Look at Boeing, for example. Look at Boeing, right? Boeing is going on a big time move from around 248 all the way to 254. Boeing's moving 6 points. And for a moment there, we can see that volume is slowly decreasing. Not substantial, but slowly. So along this push, we can see based on volume, we're having less and less buyers move on in. Could this transition and we bring more volume in and this can continue the rip and run? Absolutely. That's why it's not a standalone, right? We got to go look at support resistance. Is there any overhead resistance right now? The stock's due to pull back. Where's it going to pull back to, right? During that pullback, we want to see decreased volume. So again, we can't use it as a standalone indicator, but we can kind of see at that point in time that along those 4 to 5 candles to the upside, each volume bar was lower and lower and lower and lower. So that shows me that we have less and less buyers moving into this along the push to the upside. Is it a great indication of, oh, it's going to pull back? No, but it's something to be mindful of, right? Software that I use for my charts, I use TD Ameritrade. I think they have some of the best charting in the industry. You can set up an account for free, fund it with a little bit of money, and actually get real-time data so you can have real-time charting with TD Ameritrade. Second choice would be Trade Ideas. I'm sorry, Trading View. Trading View would be another very popular choice for traders. So why sometimes does a volume bar start green and at the final moment it ends red at any time frame? It depends on how the candle closes, right? So volume is color coordinated based on how the candle closes. So right here, that volume bar, if we're looking at Boeing, right? I'm going to zoom in. At one point in time, this volume bar right here at 9:32, this volume bar at one point was green, right? Because the candle was green. It was higher than the open. But since we closed lower and we closed red, that volume bar is going to be shaded red. You can actually shut that off. That's just my preference, right? You don't have to color coordinate these based on the volume candle of the closure, right? So if we go in here to appearance, we can actually change volume to all white. We can color it as symbol ticks. We can change it to blue. If you realize you like looking at volume, but you don't like the red and the green and you want it neutral, but you still want to see increase and decrease in volume, change it to a neutral color, right? You can change that to a neutral color. So now we just see the clean volume. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? It's not causing any kind of issues with how the stock's price is closing based on the candles. It's just clean. It's not red, not green. But personal preference, I've been using that type of appearance for years, that I just kind of like the green and the red. I've gotten used to it. But a lot of traders have their volume blue, white, a neutral color so they don't get conflicted based on the green and the red of the volume. Right now, 11:13 in the market, ladies and gentlemen. We have Boeing hitting 254 highs. They announced first quarter deliveries. Boeing 787 target looks like a stretch. So overall, Boeing not having a bad day. Looking pretty good. Due for a pullback, though. We can definitely say, hey, Boeing's got to pull back, right? This thing just ran 6 points without pulling back. It's going to pull back. Where could it pull back to? I would put you around that 251.42 mark. So Boeing BA. All right. And again, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'm more than happy to dive into more lessons, anything that's educational and valuable to you guys. So if you're like, dude, I know volume, that was whack. Hey, it's a good lesson. Nothing wrong with doing any kind of lessons. But if you guys have any other recommendations, please let me know. Be more than happy to dive into it, as the market is pretty slow today. So if we're looking at Boeing for a possible entry, right? Stock's kind of flagging at the highs, right? It's meeting the criteria. So when the stock moves up, you want to see it occur on increased volume. So we don't really have just nice, steady, increased volume bars, right? It was kind of up, down, up. But again, we had volume on average right around this 137. We can see here that we're losing a little bit of this volume as we're consolidating, right? And it's kind of starting to form maybe somewhat of a flag off that 9 EMA, possibly looking for a break over 254. What's another thing that we could see, right? Since the volume isn't as clean as what we want for a flag, again, where the volume increases, during consolidation it decreases beautifully, we could probably see more of a double top formation here if we get rejected off 254. So if we get a quick little pop over 254 again, I'm looking to take the shorts. Because we need a little bit more of a pullback. In my opinion, I think we see a little bit more of a pullback here over on Boeing. Look at the daily chart. We have some resistance at that 255. So price is holding 254 now. Let's see how this candle closes. Is this candle going to hold 254? Or are we going to come back down below 254 and close? If we close below 254, probably come back down to 253 and retest. So the RSI settings that I have are the standard settings through TD Ameritrade. So it's your 14, 70, 30. All right, so whenever you're setting up your RSI, just make sure it shows 14, 70, 30. And then other indicators, I don't really use anything else. What you see is what I use. I use volume, I use RSI, I use the VWAP, and I use the 9 EMA, right? And then I apply Fibonacci's, support resistance, overall trends, price action. So as far as actually on the chart, I have two indicators on my chart, 9 EMA and VWAP. And then down here, I'm using volume and the RSI. So right now, if we're looking at volume, we can see that volume moved in along these 2 candle push, but as it was trying to hold 254, we actually lost a little volume as price hit these highs of 254.49. We can see here that we lost a little bit of volume. So we're actually decreasing a little bit in volume as we were up here near these highs. We're also seeing some divergence on the RSI, right? We see this high here, peaked. We see this high here was a little bit lower on the RSI. And now we're starting to see this turn a little bit. So right now, the 9 EMA is still support. We actually may see a higher low still back up into 254 before we actually get a bigger reversal. And I would actually go ahead and throw a fib on this right off this move and see if we get a nice pullback, probably into that 38.2 fib, maybe down towards around 252. And honestly, I would start the fib from the move. So I'm going to bring that up, and I'm going to start it right when volume started moving on in. So what we're looking at is a 38.2 pullback on the fib, would put you in the low 252s. But could it continue higher? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But should we see a little bit more of a pullback? I think so. I think we should see a little bit more of a pullback here on Boeing. So right now, if we can get below that 9 on the 1, we might be able to get back down into the 253 where I'll look to take some profit. And then I'll be looking to take everything right around that 252. Right now, it is fighting for the 9 EMA, and it still is building higher lows. But what do we notice, right? We are pulling back on decreased volume. So really right now, we still do have potential to the upside. But we also, in my opinion, need more of a pullback here. Let's see if we can get below 250 or 253.50. I'm going to take a little bit of profit here. Just going to scale out, guys. We know this market, right? It's always good to take profit when you have it. So I'm slowly scaling out along this pullback. I took 100 shares off the table, right around 253.47. Right now, I want to continue to see these buyers get taken out. Right? We want to see it move down a little bit lower into the low 253s. Right now, it's definitely moving in the right direction for us. I'm going to take a little bit more profit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and lock it up. I'm going to go ahead and lock in a quick 160 bucks on that short. Not bad. I don't want to be greedy. That's one thing that I've realized I've been doing lately is I've been holding a little too long, looking for the sweet target, right, of where exactly I want to get out. I hold a little too long. I go from a green trade to a break-even trade or a red trade. Just because I'm like, I want 50 more cents. I'm being greedy, right? So let's not be greedy. 167 bucks, quick little 5-minute trade. I'll take it, right? And I need more of those base hits. I need more of those just boom, couple $100. Boom, couple $100. And maybe every now and then I get those big moves to where it's a nice big trade. So that being said, I am completely out of Boeing. I took it for about 50 cents to the downside. Again, just small, steady base hits. That's all. So right now, Boeing, we're still watching BA, Boeing. I'm scanning through some of our small cap stocks, see if we're, make sure we're not missing anything. And we're not, guys. We are definitely not missing anything. Go ahead and flip to a 5-minute and see if we have anything that stands out. Do we have anything on PLUG? No. No, the only thing that we have on PLUG is we're bouncing today off the 200-day moving average. So a couple days of consolidation, holding that 200-day moving average. We could see a reversal coming on up over on PLUG. But why are we not buying it today? Because you're still technically catching a falling knife. We need to wait for it to consolidate for a couple days above the 200. Then we could possibly get a leg up over on PLUG. So let's definitely keep PLUG on high watch over the next few days. if Tesla sells off quick, all right, if Tesla keeps selling off with these strong red candles and we can get it all the way back down to 728, 729, I will look for a bounce on Tesla. All right, just so you guys know, we'll be looking for a bounce on Tesla if we get a nice, big, volatile, fast sell-off down into that 728. If it's slow and steady, probably won't take it. And here's the reason why. When we see these slow and steady pullbacks like this, the bounces aren't as strong. You see a little bounce, it might level off. You see a bounce, and it may crack, right? So when we see very strong pullbacks, like boom, selling off, right? You have more potential to see buyers really move on in and get a bigger bounce, right? How many times have you seen that? Stock selling off quick down into a level of support, and then boom, big bounce very, very quick. But then on the flip note, on the the opposite side of things, when you see a stock really slow and really steady falling like this, are the bounces really great? Not all the time, right? Usually the bounces are shallow, kind of levels off, right? So it's not as strong. We want to find those very quick, volatile sell-offs, look to nail the entry on the bounce, get a quick bounce on up, take some profit, lock them in, walk away. I love that strategy. So right now, I am out of every trade. I don't have anything going on right now. So we'll run the stream for another 10 to 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go ahead and give you an opportunity to open up the floor. Once again, questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. But if not, we're going to go ahead and end this day on a positive note. Again, why be in the market when it's slow like it is today? Nothing going on, guys. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap it up again in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And as I wait to see if we have any questions moving on in, let's go check out some stocks on some scanners. I had PRPO. This one's a random pump and dump. Watch for it to dump a dump. We got TARS also hitting the high day momentum scanner. This one's not doing anything. So really, guys, we're not missing anything, right? We're not missing anything. BTN's one that I just saw on the scanner. BTN, very slow and steady. I don't like when the market moves, 40, 50, 60, 30 cents in an hour, right? This move took an hour. I don't want to trade for an hour. I don't want to be in a trade for an hour. I want to get in and get out, right? So really right now, BTN, yeah, it went from 340 to 380, right? 40-cent move, but it took an hour to do that. It took an hour. Every 15 minutes, it moved 10 cents. That's not enough. Right? I don't want to sit here and wait 15 minutes to get 10 cents. So again, I'll go ahead and open the floor. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and then we'll go ahead and end the stream here momentarily. All right, so Boeing now getting a little flag up here. So we can kind of see we got a little bit of this flag formation over on Boeing right above the 90 EMA and on decreasing volume as well. But we look at the 5-minute, the 5-minute doesn't look all that great. So overall, is that a great flag formation? No, but is it meeting the criteria? Yeah, I would say so. Definitely looks like it's meeting some of the criteria. Support right now is right underneath these lows at 253.13. Uh, 38.2 fib back down towards around 252. And I'm sure Boeing's options are, I don't know. Yeah, they're pretty pricey, not gonna lie. I mean, you're talking $300 for one contract. If you get a dollar move out of Boeing, you make about, 15%, give or take. So again, if you were buying an option contract on Boeing right now and it goes up $1, you would invest about $290. You would make about 44 bucks if you were to look at that 255 strike. My rule of thumb is no more than 5% in spread. So if you're looking at a $3 option contract, you don't want the spread to be any more than 15 cents. Right now, we can see the spread's about 7. So the spread does meet, my rule as far as, not exceeding that 5% spread, right? So 5% spread would be about 15 cents. We can see the spreads anywhere from 7 to 8. So it's about 2.5% spread between the bid and the ask. So that makes it a pretty good options chain. Right, so even the 257.5s are a little less expensive. They have a 33 delta, so you can invest $200 for one contract. And if it goes up $1, you would make about 33 bucks. Once again, about 15%. Can you comment something about the short floats of any stock? So with my scanners, trade ideas, what I can actually see is what the short percentage, the short float percentage is from the prior day. So if you look at like VTVT, you can see that the short float percentage is about 11% of the float. So the float is 20 million shares. So 10% of 20 million is 2 million. So as of yesterday at close, there were 2 million shares short of VTVT. Now, isn't that safe to say that that may have contributed to this move? Absolutely. 10% of 20 million shares short is quite a lot of shares short. So we could say that, okay, some of this move was a little bit of a short squeeze. Now, is this anything substantial, right? Like 50%, almost half of the, is this a GameStop, AMC, Nokia type of deal? No. right? And a lot of those stocks have been, really depleted as far as how many shares are short right now. But again, I mean, there's a couple tools online that you can go to, but a lot of these free tools looking for the short float percentage or the amount of shares that are short in a given stock, a lot of these sites are delayed by a few weeks, right? So if you look at it, it's about 3 weeks delayed, 2 weeks delayed. So it's not always 100%, right? If you get a premium or there's some other paid services out there, they'll actually show you what, the short float percentage is in pretty much real time, right? And that's the cool thing about Trade Ideas is it's not 2-3 weeks delayed. This is actually showing me that data as of the previous day's close. So again, BTVT, as of yesterday at 4 o'clock, there had been roughly 2 million shares short, and that definitely could have contributed to a nice little squeeze here. So hopefully you guys received that. I know it was buffering and spinning on my side. Hopefully it wasn't doing that the whole time that I was explaining the short float percentage. If you missed that, I can definitely run back into it. But if you caught all that, awesome. I don't know if it was buffering the whole time. Fernando, did you get that clarification, my man? I wanted to make sure it wasn't buffering on your end and that you heard kind of the breakdown for the short float percentage. All right, there is one website that I used to use, but again, I realized it was extremely delayed. It's actually called financial.com. Again, this is a free tool. It says it was last updated April 13th today, but again, this is about 2 weeks of delayed data. So if you come in here, at least you get an idea about a week or two ago, what is currently short. So we have here, let's go the float percentage. So right here, we can see ATUS, right? ATUS as of 2 weeks ago, right? The short float percentage, the percentage of the float that's short is 300%. My goodness. Let's go look at ATUS real quick. I'm curious. ATUS, based on this website, it's stating that there is a float, a short interest of 46 million, right? What's ATUS, the float? I'm just curious. ATUS. Go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and go into statistics. Let's scroll down and we see the float here is 179 million, right? But this is saying that the short interest is 46 million. So is this really 300% of the float being short? At first glance, you would think, oh my goodness, right? 300% of the float is short. We can see here though, that the float is 180 million. The short interest, basically shares short right now, is 46 million. All right. So percentage of the shares short, 10%. So again, it's not 100%. You always got to do your due diligence. Go look at the float here. Sometimes you see the float, the shares short as well. Right now we can see shares short or 45 million. This is accurate, 45 million. So right now you do have a substantial amount of shares short in comparison to the float. That's about 25%, right? The float is, let's just round it up and say 200 million. Let's round this up and say 50 million short. So right now you got about 1/4 of the current shares of the float currently short on ATUS. So that's a free tool. It's a good tool. But there's also paid tools like Benzinga Pro. Very expensive, but that'll show you real-time data as far as short. You're talking a few $100 a month for a service like that, if I'm not mistaken. So Tesla was a good short. I took the short off the retest of the previous low. So I was actually short on Tesla up in the the 737 area. I took it down for a couple $100 there on 100 shares. I got back to break even on the day. I'm okay with that. I came into the mindset of, there might be a week out of the next 14 days, 13 days that I'm not trading, that I'm breaking even, right? I only need a couple great days to really get going for the month. So with that being said, I'm break even on the day. And there's a reason, right? We could really look at the market, guys. It's not like there's been tons of opportunity that I'm missing. There have been no opportunity that I'm staying away from. So if anything, I did good today, right? I'm not taking the necessary losses, right? I'm waiting for the best of the best setups. I only traded 5 tickers today, right? Definitely didn't overtrade. Didn't leverage too much on my size. My max loss was $150 a trade. And the market is still 50-50. So my results are 50-50, right? 2 green, 3 red, negative 23 on the day. Pretty much, let's call it break even. But again, the market's very 50-50, so my results. The second that we can see something shape up, right? The second that we actually see something start getting hot, the market just really returning to proper market conditions, is when we're going to take advantage of every opportunity, and we are going to make money, ladies and gentlemen. But we have to be patient and wait for those market conditions to return. So right now, we're getting ready to shut her down in the next 3 minutes. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that basic, simple volume lesson today. We really broke it down. I tried to give you guys a lot of great live examples. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully you guys learned something today, and we'll be ready to go to hit it hard tomorrow as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap. That is the day. Again, might as well not be here participating in the market when the market is very choppy and very slow. Congratulations if you were able to lock in some profits today in this very off market. If you didn't, it's okay. You did the right thing. You stayed disciplined. You sat on the sidelines. You weren't the guinea pig trying to wait for the market to return to better conditions. So guys, if you're breaking even today, if you're walking away with no trades, and even if you made a couple bucks, take that as a win. The market is very challenging right now, all right? Firsthand, I've been in here for 5 to 6 years. This market over the last couple weeks has been extremely challenging. So the smart thing to do, guys, the best thing to do is when the market is tough to trade in, sit on those hands, learn, watch the markets, paper trade a little bit if you have to, study up. At least, take the initiative and use your time wisely, and always grow your skill set, your knowledge, everything like that. So once again, congratulations, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the live stream today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up anytime. Josh@alphadaytrading.com. We'll go ahead and end it on a positive note, a strong note, an energetic note in 3, 2, 1. Woo! You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. If I do not see you this afternoon, I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 9:10 Eastern Standard Time, as we kick off our pre-market commentary session. Love you guys. Have an awesome rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow.